got a beautiful tone-on-tone card for you. A little bit of embossing done with a mask this time, so I hope you'll enjoy that. We have several products we'll be using in this one. We're going to be using the Poinsettia from the classic Poinsettia open petals, as well as the Poinsettia edition, some of these here. We're going to do the focal element with the Frosty frame. And we're going to add some accents with the berry bough. And we've also got a couple of nobles here, both the double pierced squares, the original set and the set B that we're going to be doing multi-layer framing with. So I'll set these to the side. So I'm going to start with the embossing. So I'm using the Nordic Christmas mask for this. I've got a piece of card here, just larger than the mask, which is, let's see, piece of card I'm using is going to be 6 3/4 square. I'm just going to pop this right into the center and tape it into place. That'll give me a little edge to work with. So what we'll do is we will take it and put it directly onto the base plate, flip it upside down. I'm going to add our tan mat right over the top of that and our embossing plate over that. Give that a run through. There we go. You can see you've got some really beautiful embossing on that. Love the way that looks. I mean, your mask you usually can use to ink through, and if you wanted to accentuate that a little bit more, you could bring a tone-on-tone ink in that, maybe an antique linen or whatnot. Definitely your call. I'm going to leave it for today. Pop that to the side. So now what we can do is I can seat our frames over that. I've gone ahead and done them ahead of time. And rather than having them stacked on top of each other, larger on the bottom and smaller on the top, I've decided to have it sort of recessed with the B set on the inside there. So a little bit of mounting foam on the back to raise it. Peel the backing paper off of that. And we'll just center it over our embossed mask. There we go. Tidy up a little bit. We can even bring that over and put it onto our backing, which I've just used our milk card, paper pierced around the edge, and then added a backing sheet to that. This would also look lovely in white or any shade of white. Put that into the middle there. So now we have our base piece. So moving forward, what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've cut one of the Frosty frames, just using the outer die there. And what I'm going to do is take and trim it and cut it and make it square. So I find the easiest way to do this is just to find your center point, which is the smaller snowflakes, and just cut it. And then you can either put it together or you can do them individually. Since these have a fair bit of detail to them, I'm just going to line them up along the leg of that longer snowflake and cut each one individually in the same spot. There we go. Pop that back to the side there. So now I can take these and reassemble them, taping them together with some regular sellotape. Just line up the stitching on them. Oops, get the tape across there, and I'm going to put one more piece just to keep it nice and sturdy across the back of that. So I've got 2 of these completely done now. So I'm going to bring back our backing here, and I'm going to place one of them down so that it's sort of like in a diamond orientation. Put that right about into the center, and I'm just going to go ahead and use some double-sided tape across the back of this one and attach it on the top of it. And we will have the cut line going horizontally across this one. Pop that right down, make sure everything lines up. So now what you have is a really pretty different shaped snowflake you can use there. So I wanted to add something over the top there to cover that join. So I've used the center section from the Frosty frame, this little piece here, to cut a really nice little backing piece. That will cover the majority of it. Right like that. And I did stamp a sentiment ahead of time. I'm going to cover it with a little piece of self-adhesive sticky sheet, and I'm always going on about how you want to save all these little pieces. These are perfect for covering your sentiments, absolutely perfect. So no matter how big or small they are, you can save these. So I've just peeled that off, and I'm going to bring in a piece of copy paper. And we will use a bit of diamond snow on top of this. There we go. And I've even cut this probably a lot bigger than I need. But you want to make sure to cover all that adhesive so you don't, when you go to die cut, it doesn't stick to your plates. There we go. Now the center section of this has this beautiful little stitched oval. We will use that. So let me bring this over my plates, and we will line this up and tape it into place nicely. That should do it. Cut that out. Okay. Oops, a little bit of tape still on there. There we go. Put that back on our plate. So now we've got a really nicely little glittered sentiment there. I am just going to add a tiny bit of mounting foam to the back. We'll put that into the middle of the card. Okay, so now what I want to do is accent it with some flowers. So let me just show you real quickly what I've done here. In fact, I'll just take one of these larger poinsettias and we'll do a quick cut on it. So I've just used an assortment of sizes from both the poinsettia outlines and the additions, and just used the, not the solid one, but just the outline versions. Okay, get this out of our, whoops, out of our die. And you've got really fine detail on these. Now these will lay flat on your solid pieces if you want, but what I have done is just taken my ice snow and my glue, and I've just used this as a guide to run my glue around the edge. You can put a little in the center if you like. Just run a little bead of that, and I'll just do a few here. Pop that right on the top there. So you've got a really nice little shimmer. When that dries, it'll dry perfectly clear, and you will have lovely poinsettias that look like that. Just so festive. And on something like this card where it is tonal, you want to have a little bit of bling to draw your eye in, I think. So I'll use the ones I've already done ahead of time, and we will seat those with the larger ones in the bottom area, just sort of on the edge of the frame. A little bit of a glue dot there. And this little small guy up in this corner. And we have loads of little berry boughs that we can add, and let's just nip some of these away so we have the right size that we need. So for our smaller one, you want to just stick them all the way under. Because you've got something that's a little bit open there, you want to kind of hide the end piece if possible. So it looks like it's just coming from underneath your flower. Tuck them under, and we will add a few on here, up and around this one. And you've got a left and a right face. They have just a little bit of a curve to them. So you can make them go whichever direction you like, which is always handy. I'm just going to nip away that little bit. We'll put, let's put one more down here, and we'll just finish off with one more here, and I'll take off the very little tip of that one. Add that right along here. There you go. On my original, I put a few more in there, and you can add some pearls to the centers and whatnot, so it's absolutely beautiful. But you can see how nice and easily you can create a tone-on-tone card with just a few items. Hope you've enjoyed today's video and look for us on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe.